Good morning, good morning, good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Did you miss me? Looks like you've all been very busy in my absence. I tell we're back for 10 days and we have a new Prime Minister and a new King as well. But I return rested and refreshed and eager once again to take up the good fight and take up arms against our oppressors, many though they may be. Also delighted to be back in a country that knows how to make a decent cup of tea. Now, just so you know, there will be no minute silence today to mark the passing of the Queen. There's been quite enough virtue signalling in the national and social media already without me adding to it. And besides, as you will hear later in the show, I have issues of my own to deal with. So without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It's Monday, the 12th of September, and as that remarkably persistent but recently absent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, pick a card, any card. Wacker Neuson steps up the electric revolution, the sustainability benefits of remanufacturing. Our Road to Bauma segment returns with a look at some of the new tech that will be of interest to attachment users. Plus, why today's show is tinged with sadness, and we'll get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! And its many happy returns to Richard Jordan Gatling, creator of the hand crank machine gun that still bears his name to this day. Also to iconic athlete Jesse Owens. Happy birthday also to actor Sir Ian Holm, to Dallas actress Linda Gray, and to gravel-voiced singer Barry White, to composer Hans Zimmer, boxer Wilfred Benitez, and to actor Paul Walker. Many happy returns to them, one and all. My feet had barely touched Grecian sand when my phone began to blow up. The dedicated Breakfast Show WhatsApp group, and if you'd like to join that WhatsApp group, you'll find a link in the chat. But the dedicated Breakfast Show WhatsApp group was all aflutter with talk of illegally obtained competence cards that are seemingly available across the many social media networks. I've been contacted previously myself, actually, by one such card provider over on Instagram. I reported them, and it seems that account was either removed or it's changed, because there is now something very, very similar to it on Instagram as we speak. Now, in the past, some of those card providers were simply supplying lookalike cards. But with the advent of smart card technologies, they have apparently been forced to get a little more creative. In some instances, they require you to pay a deposit of half the cost of the illegal card. They then sit the exam on your behalf to secure a legitimate card. At least that's the claim. Some never receive the card that they've paid for illegally. And I guess if you're trusting your competence card to an illegal scam, you probably get what you pay for. Obviously, the card scammers are the guilty parties here. Whether they supply a card or not, they are breaking the law and they should be brought to justice. But the construction and demolition training sector also needs to take a look in the mirror over its part in the creation of a card scheme system so complex and so expensive that it has effectively driven some of those that require cards underground. Think about it. We have CSCS, CPCS, CCDO, NVQs, NPAWS, CITB, and NOCN. That is a huge collection of acronyms. It's also a huge collection of cracks down which the unsuspecting might fall, and through which card scammers can pass apparently unseen. Cost is also a key issue. Times are hard at the moment. You don't need to tell me about that, but times are hard at the moment, and they're seemingly getting worse. Faced with the rising cost of living and requiring a card in order to work, I'm sure that some workers will be driven to the dark side in search of a lower cost alternative that doesn't require them to take time out of work to sit an exam. What are the powers that be doing about this? Good question. There have been investigations and prosecutions of card scammers in the past, but the scammers seem to possess the uncanny ability to bounce back almost immediately. So lucrative is the business of choice. And do the legitimate card providers really have an interest in pursuing them? Even with the presence of scammers, legitimate card providers are raking in millions. And some might argue that regardless of whether they were obtained legally or illegally, competence cards still don't actually prove the skill of the card holder. As in so many walks of life, it's working men and women that face the fire and lose out. They're already being asked to pay in order to work, which is surely a questionable practice in the first place. They're being forced to renew cards in order to prove they can do the very thing they've been doing for years or even decades. The cost of new and renewed cards is so prohibitively expensive that some are being driven into the grasps of criminal gangs. And perhaps most worrying of all, they are now working side by side with potentially unskilled people that have obtained their card illegally and who could potentially put their lives and the lives of others at risk. Now, just so you know, let me just get this off the screen. Now, just so you know, I am planning an episode of the Breakfast Show After Dark around this very subject. I'd really love to get your opinion and input from as many people as possible, literally across disciplines. So whether you're a card provider, whether you're a card user, an operator, an operative, whatever it might be, we'd love to get your take on this. So if you have an opinion you'd like to share, or if you would like to be on that After Dark show as a co-host, please let me know in the chat. We would love to hear from you.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
I make no apologies for my admiration of the fine folks at Wacker Neuson. Like Mechalak, Volvo, and Liebherr, Wacker Neuson is constantly pushing the envelope, constantly innovating. Theirs is one of the stands at Bauma that I'm most looking forward to seeing because I just know there will be something there that is unique, something completely out of the construction equipment left field. And maybe, just maybe, it will be this. Yeah, I sincerely hope that machine will be at Bauma so I can take a closer look. Oh, and speaking of Bauma, as we just were, stick around as we will be back on the road to Munich right after this. Bauma is just 42 days away now, and you'll be pleased to know that my training is going well. Each day of my holiday, and I mean this really, each day of my holiday started with a 5k walk in the Corfu sunshine. And although I've still got to work on my pace. In fact, first run of my couch to 5k campaign is scheduled for later tonight. Wish me luck. I'm now starting to believe I might actually make it through Bauma without it killing me. Fingers crossed. Now, of course, Bauma is primarily about the equipment, about the plant and the heavy iron. But this year's show looks set to be the most technological to date.
Today, many types of different machines are working together on construction sites. They are becoming more digital and virtually connected every day. However, the communication between construction machines and attachment tools is still manufacturer-specific and not compatible amongst each other. We believe that clients and all construction machine operators out there deserve much more. What if there was an open, machine overarching and manufacturer independent data standard for the communication between all construction machines and attachment tools? Say hello to the MIC 4.0 bus, a common data interface that connects construction machines and attachment tools, a true plug-and-work solution. Say hello to a growing network of construction machine and attachment manufacturers, as well as machine users. Our mission? A holistic and overarching transfer protocol for maximum customer benefit. Welcome to MIC 4.0 Bus. Welcome to the future.
Yeah, my list of must-see products just keeps on growing and growing for Bauma. Now, speaking of Bauma, Peter Haddock, good morning, Peter. Mark and I will be visiting the Wacker Neuson stand at Bauma and reporting on some of its innovations. You're damn right we will. It's always one of my favourites to visit. I love the big shows. I love the Liebherrs and the Volvos and so on down the line, although Volvo aren't there this time. But the two that I target first of all, Wacker Neuson and Mechalak, because you just never know what they're going to have on display. Now I need to press a button. What say I press this one? I think by now we all know the financial benefits of equipment remanufacturing and of extracting a second or even a third working life from a machine. But as you're about to see, the remanufacturing process also has sustainability benefits too.
Sustainability is important. It affects every aspect of our business.
We're taking something that was discarded and making it like new again.
As we continue to evolve in our understanding globally of the impact that carbon makes on the planet, the sustainability aspect of being able to take that end-of-life product and breathe new life back into it and not have to go harvest those raw products.
We're not wasting that product that has usable life remaining.
It's the right thing for the environment. It keeps things out of landfills.
Sustainability is becoming more important to the customer every day.
As our customers become more aware of the environmental impacts, they'll be looking for more sustainable options.
The price point of those components as they're purchased are at a more reasonable point because we're not manufacturing the entire part. We're starting with core parts of it that we can reuse.
It's like new at a lower cost and more readily available.
The first step in our salvage process is to start with our core. It comes in as a dirty piece of iron.
Worn out, broken, damaged. It is the body of whatever piece of equipment we want to remanufacture. We have a world-class core management system where at any given time, we have an ability to touch about 90% of our cores in circulation. And everything that we remanufacture requires a core.
In almost all cases, our products are designed for multiple lives, and when we get that core back, we recycle it, salvage it, and reuse it, and take it back to like-new standards.
Sustainability is factored into CAT Reman early on, making sure that we do have a design that can be remanufactured through our processes. We can plan for those second, third, and fourth lives.
As the core comes in, it's disassembled, sorted, inspected, and cleaned. We have processes in place to ensure the quality throughout.
When this part comes in, I do a visual inspection and an internal inspection.
We've disassembled it all the way down to individual parts. From those individual parts, we then build that product back up, including new content of the wear items and ultimately paint.
All of our used oil that we use in our processes here gets recycled. Even our paint filters, they don't go in the landfill, they get recycled, they get burned for energy. It benefits everybody, and we're doing the right things.
Everybody loves keeping stuff out of the landfills, and you're just repurposing the part and getting to use it again.
And it also helps lower that price point of purchasing that product with the same warranty.
Being able to turn in those cores, I mean, it helps us in the decision making because that takes some of the cost of proper disposal or anything along those lines off of us as a company.
CAT Reman has been around since 1973. If you think about the amount of material over the years we've kept out of landfill, it's definitely something that we take pride in.
Gives me pride in what we're doing to help our customers and to help build sustainability for Caterpillar.
We're able to produce our parts in a more timely manner, use less resources, create less waste, and it helps us sustain our environment. It's a winning combination for everybody.
The CAT Reman product itself is sustainability. It's a continuous life cycle.
Yeah, there you have it. If you have a good engine, don't replace it, remanufacture it. It could be good for you, and it could be good for the planet as well. On the afternoon of the 2nd of September, I was sat in a beachfront restaurant staring out across a shimmering sea towards the Greek mainland when my phone rang. It was my sister calling to inform me that my father had taken a fall and that, as she put it, it didn't look good. Those that have been watching this show for any length of time will know that my father has been suffering with COPD and cancer for more than 4 years. You'll also know that I lost my mum, my dad's wife of almost 60 years, back in January. An hour or so after that initial phone call, my eldest son called to say that he was driving towards Worthing Hospital. Just a few hours later, my son called again and delivered the 2 words that I'd been dreading the most. He's gone. At the time of this broadcast, we're still waiting for the death certificate to confirm the actual cause of death. They needn't bother. Regardless of what it says on that piece of paper, my father died of a broken heart. He had bravely fought cancer, COPD, and failing eyesight that had largely robbed him of the ability to do all the things he had once loved. But the death of my mum at the end of January was one blow too many. From that moment onwards, excuse me, from that moment onwards, it's really been a matter of when rather than if. So now I find myself as the eldest member of the Anthony clan. I would say that I was now the head of the family, but my sister would probably have something to say about that, and I've always been slightly terrified of her. I also find myself parentless, effectively an orphan, without the support and guidance upon which I've relied my entire life, bereft of footsteps in which to follow. Now, despite what I do for a living, I've been struggling to find the words that might convey the actual loss of my father, my idol and my hero. He was the best man at my wedding and the best man I've ever met. And perhaps for that reason, I've not shared details of his passing too widely, because I just don't have the words. But one person that I did tell is Stefano Pansieri, the incumbent president of the European Demolition Association. As an Italian, he truly understands the importance of family. As a man, Stefano has also followed in the footsteps of a formidable father. And as a friend, he managed to find the words that I'd been looking for. In an email that he sent me late last week, he said, "I dare not imagine the sadness that grips the heart in these moments, but we have at least one consolation. We, as sons, are the moral testimony that our Father leaves in this material world. We have the consolation that the good things we have been taught will continue to manifest day after day in our behaviour. And due to this, someone beloved will smile from the sky." And astonishingly, Stefano wrote that in his second language. But that pretty much sums up my relationship with my father. All that I am as a man, as a husband, as a father and a grandfather, I owe to my dad. All the things I like most about myself, my work ethic, my respect for others, particularly women, my desire to do what's right rather than what is easy, came straight from him. Sadly, even words as heartfelt and as beautiful as Stefano's cannot fill the void that has been left by my father's passing. But I do have one additional consolation. Even though I was a few thousand miles away when he passed, I'd already said my goodbyes. During the period that my mum was in hospital, we were restricted to just one nominated visitor because of COVID restrictions. Because I'm miles away from Worthing and because my father was largely immobile, that duty fell to my sister Kelly. During one of her daily visits to the hospital, I had some alone time with my dad, and I used that opportunity to tell him all the things that I'd never had the opportunity to tell him before. I told him how much I loved him, how much I admired and respected him, how much I appreciated the sacrifices and compromises he'd made for myself, my sister, and my mum over the years. And by the end of it, I was in floods of tears. My dad, a man not given to displays of public emotion, looked at me square in my tear-soaked eyes and said, "Oh, shut up, you great soft tart," which feels like the perfect way to round out this part of the show.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. This great soft tart is actually going to shut up in a minute, but before I go, a few quick points of order. There will be no show on Thursday this week, at least not in the usual sense. I'm filming up country, so I will do my best to pre-record a show before I go, just to keep you all entertained and to make up for the fact that I abandoned you all while I was away in Corfu. In addition to that, I also wanted to gauge your opinion. Obviously, next Monday will be given over to the Queen's funeral. So my question is this: should we still do a show on that day? Would it be disrespectful of us to do so? If we did a show, would anyone out there actually turn up, or would you all be glued to your TV screens? My personal feeling is that we don't. I've already had a bit of an online chat with Ken Hatcher, who's not here this morning, actually, and he strongly advised against doing a show on Monday. That is my inclination, but if you want a show and would like to see us here on Monday, let me know, and I'll do what I can. And one final thing before I do press the outro button. Keep your eyes peeled for a new video idea that we're currently working on. It will be called Demolition Freestyle. And while it will be pre-recorded and edited, it will be entirely unscripted. Just a stream of consciousness, thought and reaction to anything that is going on in the field of demolition and construction. Now, I'm very keen that these freestyle shows should be a minute or less in length, as I already take up way too much of your time as it is. And besides, there has been a real boom in demand for short-form video content on Facebook, Instagram, and above all, over on YouTube as well. So these will be recorded on the run, literally run and gun, possibly while I'm out walking, running, or while I'm driving. So look out for Demolition Freestyle, because it is coming to a screen near you very, very soon. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around, then please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, particularly your family, and your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the messages of condolence. I'll get into the chat in just a second. If you don't have the time, thanks for watching. If you do have the time, I'll see you immediately after this.